Hi, I'm Brad.
And I'm Maggie. We'd like to welcome you to our YouTube channel where we enjoy sharing our travel adventures.
You know, after more than 2 years of lockdown, we finally got to travel again this summer.
Our first adventure was to visit the ancient ruins of Pompeii in Italy. In early June, we spent 2 full days wandering around the ancient city, which had been frozen in time since the deadly eruption of Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, which buried the city in ash for 2,000 years.
Come along with us as we stroll the streets of Pompeii and visit as many neighborhoods, houses, plazas, and yes, even brothels.
Also, be sure to check out our many travel videos from all over Europe, the US, Australia, Russia, and the Far East.
And be sure to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to hit the notification bell so you can be notified of new and fun videos to watch. Thanks for watching. The ancient city of Pompeii is one of the most fascinating archaeological sites in the world. Located just outside of Naples in southern Italy, Pompeii is renowned for its well-preserved Roman ruins. By the 1st century AD, Pompeii was a flourishing resort town for the elite citizens of the Roman Empire. Elegant houses and elaborate villas filled with exquisite artwork and sparkling fountains lined its paved streets.
The eruption of Mount Vesuvius began on August 24th in 79 AD. When the mountain violently erupted, it sent a plume of ash, rock, and hot volcanic gases high into the sky. The eruption continued into the next day. On the eve of the eruption, there were over 12,000 people living in Pompeii.
Many residents fled the city, but those who decided to stay met their end the next morning when a pyroclastic flow barreled over the city walls at over 100 miles per hour, killing every living thing in its path.
By the time the eruption ended on the second day, Pompeii was completely buried under millions of tons of volcanic ash. The city and its citizens remained exactly as they had that fateful summer day in 79 AD, frozen in time under layers of ash for almost 2,000 years.
Pompeii remained hidden until 1748 when a group of explorers discovered it, a town that was left exactly as it had been almost 2,000 years ago.
Today, archaeologists and scientists continue to unravel the mysteries of Pompeii. Pompeii is also very popular with the public, with over 2.5 million people visiting every year.
Mount Vesuvius is the only active volcano on the European mainland. Its last eruption was in 1944, and its last major eruption was in 1631. Another eruption is expected in the near future, which could be devastating for the 700,000 people who live in the shadow of the volcano.
As you enter the city of Pompeii, there are several opulent villas on your left, the basilica on your right, and the Forum and Sanctuary of Apollo directly ahead.
Pompeii's basilica was used to carry out business and for the administration of justice. It is also the oldest existing basilica, dating back to the 2nd century BC.
The tribunal is where the magistrate would have sat as he passed judgment on the defendants placed before him. The elevated position was not only to highlight the importance of the magistrate, but also to protect him from the anger of the accused or the crowds.
The Sanctuary of Apollo is one of the oldest places of worship in Pompeii, built adjacent to the Forum. Excavations have revealed that it was built on an earlier temple from the 6th century BC.
There are only two remaining bronze statues, one of Apollo and one of Diana, his twin sister.
The Forum was the center of life in Pompeii and was where most religious, political, and cultural activities took place. Municipal offices were on one end of the Forum and a temple to Jupiter on the other end. Other important temples also lined the Forum.
There are many similarities between Pompeii and the modern world. Pompeii had a well-structured legal system, which included laws regarding property ownership, divorce, inheritance, and morality. It was a democratic, multicultural society. Various religions were tolerated as long as they did not go against the state or the emperor. The streets of Pompeii were narrow, with 80% limited to a single lane. The curbs were high, and crossing stones in the middle of the street were abundant, with over 300 stone crossings throughout the city.
After the ruins of Pompeii were rediscovered in the mid-18th century, formal excavations continued throughout the 19th century and into the 20th century, exposing mansions, temples, baths, and eventually entire streets paved with volcanic rock. About a third of the ancient city has yet to be excavated.
A termopolia was a small cookshop where hot food was sold, primarily to lower-class residents who lived in single rooms with no kitchens of their own. Pompeii had 89 of these small cookshops.
There were about 30 bakeries in Pompeii. Wheat was ground using large millstones. Wooden beams were inserted into the holes, which were then turned by slaves or animals. The flour dropped into the containers below and was then used to make bread, which was baked in the adjacent ovens. The Bay of Naples was a favorite location for the Roman elite, and it was here they built their villas, utilizing stunning architecture, engineering, and artwork.
The House of the Faun is named after a bronze statue of a dancing faun. It was the largest and most expensive residence in Pompeii and covered an area of over 30,000 square feet. The house is renowned for its lavish mosaic.
The wealthy citizens of Pompeii filled their homes with mosaics, frescoes, artwork, and elaborate gardens. The streets of Pompeii were designed to handle the constant flow of aqueduct water from Pompeii's 36 public fountains and runoff from rainstorms. The concrete used by the Romans was exceptionally durable and strong. The secret of its success was a combination of lime, seawater, and volcanic ash.
The ruts in the streets were made by two-wheeled carts or larger four-wheeled wagons, mostly driven by slaves or former slaves. It is believed that each wheel was fitted with an iron tire whose diameter equaled 4 Roman feet.
This small theater was built during the early days of Pompeii around 79 BC. It was dedicated to the most popular theatrical genre of its time, miming, but also could be used for musicals and singing performances.
This large quadrangle, surrounded by 74 Doric columns, was used by spectators during intermissions of the theater shows. After the earthquake of 62 AD, the building became a barracks for gladiators.
The official brothel of Pompeii is the largest of the pleasure houses. The prostitutes in the brothel were mostly Greek and Oriental slaves who were paid for their services. The building has 2 floors, and the owner and the slaves lived on the upper floor. The rooms were closed by a curtain. The small paintings inform customers of the activities that took place within its walls.
This large open-air square with a pool in the center was intended for the physical and intellectual training of Pompeii's young citizens. Numerous victims of the volcanic eruption were found here.
This amphitheater, which was built in 70 BC, is the oldest amphitheater in the Roman Empire. It could hold up to 20,000 spectators.
The people of Pompeii and the surrounding towns enjoyed their entertainment, which included gladiator battles, sports competitions, and wagering. In 59 AD, the cheering of the audience led to a bloody brawl between the people from Pompeii and those from Nocera. As a result of these riots, the Senate in Rome decided to close the arena for 10 years. However, this measure was withdrawn in 62 AD.